Releasing in Australian cinemas on November 2nd is a film called Bring Him to Me. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the director of Bring Him to Me, Luke Sparke. Luke, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Hello, good to be here.
And I think we did speak last time about Occupation Rainfall. So interesting contrast, this film.
Probably did talk, and yes, it is an interesting contrast, and it's one of the reasons why I took this film on.
Okay. I know the script is by Tom Evans. Tell me about the origins of the film, the inspiration behind it, and so on.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Tom wrote it. It's the first film I've done that's not written by myself. But I'm open to doing it. People pitch me all the time, and I just have to find the right one. How this came about was, in a funny sort of way, as it always is. Tom has worked on the poster campaign for Occupation Rainfall, like behind me. So I think he had a bit of an in where he wrote to me, and he was more just like, "Hey, I've got these scripts. Would you mind giving them a look? Just give me your advice." Interesting way to come into a pitch meeting. I liked one of his scripts very muchly, which was not this one. And then I was so focused on getting that movie up for 8 months, and it just didn't happen for one reason or another. And I sort of said, "Oh, look, we've got to move on to something else now." And he's like, "Oh, all right, well, I'm going to go back and look at my next script." And I was like, "What's your next script?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a crime movie called Bring to Me." And I said, "Send it to me." And within 2 weeks of having the script, I had it financed and in production. It just things just happen really quickly sometimes.
What a process! Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he always says in his pitch deck, he said that he kind of um, sort of based it on his love of movies like Martin Scorsese's Casino, and there's that scene at the end of Casino where Joe Pesci is brought out to a cane field on false pretenses. And I think he always said to me like, "What would that drive be like? How would you get Joe Pesci in the car, knowing where he's going to end up? How would those people have done it, and what would that car ride have been like?" And that's kind of what the basis of his idea for this movie was.
Uh-huh. Well, it's such an interesting action road crime thriller. It has a number of elements to it, and we don't often make this sort of genre in Australia. So it's great to see this type of film.
Yeah, it's something different, that's for sure.
So what were the challenges that you faced in directing it? Because a lot of it is set in a car, some of it relates to a crime family, or and so on. There are a number of moving elements, if you like, to the film. What were the challenges in directing it?
Challenges were a lot. It was probably one of the hardest films I've ever had to shoot, because it was sort of ramped in the production so quickly, which was great. And once I got in production, then it's like everyone's looking to you to go, how do we figure this out? And Tom is a new screenwriter, up and coming screenwriter, so even though I wasn't penning it, I had to make sure that everything came across my desk to make sure everything was perfect and done. So it was like character changes and a few things like that to make it perfect for casting. Very early on, some of the characters were killed off, and I made them stay alive because I knew we could cast certain people. And suddenly we got Sam Neill in the roles, and that was also my gut instinct. Then the production side of it, I only got enough money from the investors to shoot for like 15 days. So I shot this entire film in 15 days, which was and they're mainly night shoots. It's mainly shot. It's all like kind of real time, one night drive across the country type thing. So it was all hugely sort of compacted and just emotions running high every night. And I wanted to bring in things like rain in the end sequences of the movie, and obviously it didn't rain, so we had to go get rain machines and all that. Everything sort of in car chases and stuff sort of started to compound, because I was just always going for bigger and bigger and bigger, to make sure the story is told on the right scale, but also always focusing on the minutiae of the characters.
Well done on that because it certainly looks great on the screen, and you've done it well. And it looks like rain is a motive that you're going to be using in all of your films.
Yeah, I like atmospheric stuff, right? Like I can't help but do it. I go through and I highlight things, and we should snow here, it could rain here, or this could be something else. Yeah, funnily enough, it did actually rain on one of the nights we had the rain machine, and there was actually some lightning and thunder as Barry hops out of the car towards the end, and there's some real lightning in the movie.
Okay, yeah, very good. Now let's talk about casting because you've already mentioned Sam Neill, who I must say is plays a very interesting character, and hopefully, of course, that's all makeup effect, special effects, and he wasn't really beaten up.
No, I mean, in his condition right now, obviously it was very daunting for me as well because he's obviously told the world now what he is, but I got told, last year when you were filming, sort of, don't tell anyone that this is what I'm going through. So he actually, the day after he filmed, he was getting his treatments, like literally went from our set to like treatments, and I was like, man, I was really, I was like, are you okay with this? And he's like, no, I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to do it, right? He's like, I could easily be bedridden, but he's like, I want to work. I like this role. I think he liked it because there was, I think he said to me, he said, I like it because usually with bad guys, there's some redeeming qualities. He's like, this guy has no redeeming qualities. He's just a bad guy. You know what I mean? I just think he liked to relish in that moment. Yeah.
Okay, well, he does a great job, as does Rachel Griffiths as the boss of this crime family. And I thought, wow, what an interesting role for her.
Yeah, yeah. So in the script, it was always a female, which I thought was great. And then obviously finding someone that can fill their shoes. And again, my gut feeling, a lot of it of hers was going to be done in the script was done by phone calls. Even towards the end, she kind of comes in quickly, then leaves, and a lot of it was done by phone calls. And I expanded that role with Rachel's blessing to make sure that she got as much screen time as it was needed. So yeah, she came in and she had her own ideas, which was great, haircuts, and really wanted to be, like a really sort of bogan American crime boss, where she's wearing like, expensive shoes, but they're sneakers and like, Gucci chains, but like a really sort of haircut that was kind of like it was all very designed by her, which was great.
Okay, really, really good stuff. And Barry Pepper in the lead. And I noticed the film is very much American style. I think you did that deliberately.
Yeah, yeah, it's all kind of set in America. That was the idea. I
Yeah.
didn't want to do. I didn't. We've got some great films out here like Two Hands or Animal Kingdom that sort of delves into this crime stuff. And I just knew if I had done it based here, it would sort of turn into a bit of Aussie bogan maybe, and it's not really my style. So I wanted to set it, it's a Nowhereville America or just Nowhereville somewhere, and keep it sort of just very generic.
Okay, well done on that. So what actual locations did you use? Because it felt like an American film in many respects, but of course you shot in Australia, I gather.
Yeah, yeah, we shot it here on the Gold Coast, which is
Yeah.
where our studios are, and then in Brisbane, Ipswich, and shot it all around. Which again, every day on this 15-day shoot, we were moving locations because, as you said, it's a very sort of car-driven movie. Every night there's supposed to be a new location. They stop here, they stop here, they stop here, and they find different locations to make it interesting. We were shooting under the Gateway Bridge in Brisbane. We were shooting Ipswich Railway, museums, and just crazy places to make it feel like industrial America, and yeah.
Okay, well done on that. And there's a lot of stunt work or special driving work and so on. And I can imagine the logistics behind a lot of that would have been quite enormous.
Yeah, they would have been, and then it turns out that Barry Pepper had done a NASCAR TV series a couple of years ago, and he got trained by NASCAR drivers. And
Ah,
actors tell me this all the time. They say the biggest thing you say with an actor, you say, "Can you ride a horse?" "I can ride a horse," and they fall off day one. And you go, "Can you actually ride?" "Oh, I think I can." So I said to Barry, "All right, can you drive?" And he's like, "I did this NASCAR movie." So I took him out to the car park, and I'm like, "Well, here you go. Show me how you can drive." And he blew us all away with his driving skills. So he's in the car all the time. There is no stunt driver. It is all Barry Pepper. So that was a bit of a godsend as well because he just did it, and I could capture him doing it.
absolutely. And he's very good in the role. Was he your first choice?
For this role, yes, he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he would. Him and I have been trying to do a movie together. And he was going off to do a Yellowstone spin-off, the TV show Yellowstone. And so he was out. And so I was talking to other cast members, some really great names. And he came back and said, "Oh, it got pushed. I'm available. What are you working on?" I sent him the script, and within 24 hours, he'd signed on. So yeah, it was
Okay.
great.
Oh, excellent. Interesting how all of that can work so well. And the other cast I think are really good as well. Jamie Costa and Liam McIntyre and Zach Garrett. Tell me about casting them in particular roles.
Yeah, well, Jamie kind of shot the fame for his little Robin Williams viral video he did a couple of years ago. And I reached out to him after that personally and was just like, hey, great job. Let's work together. And we've been talking just about other movies, Jurassic Park, our love of cinema, back and forth. And I knew when I read the script, it needed someone like Jamie, who's very sort of a kind looking person, even though he's in this horrible business and he's doing it for certain reasons. Someone that could come across very kind. I didn't want a sort of Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad with the sort of, yo, 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 Mr. White, he's sort of like, and you go, oh, you're a scumbag, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted someone that was more up and coming into this world, and I thought he would be perfect. So he signed on. Zach had worked with me on Rainfall, and he also helped produce this movie. And Liam McIntyre, I've just wanted to work with for a while again, and just had him in the back of my mind, and literally sent him the script, and I said, pick a character that you would like to be in this movie. After I'd cast the mains, I said, just it's up to you. You can pick one, and he picked, Travis as the sort of Rachel's henchman. So yeah, that's how it all came together.
Oh, how interesting to hear all of that. Now, the look of the film is really strong, and great cinematography and the use of music. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm a lover of film music and film score and that. So like I've got my composer since Rainfall. I get him to do all my movies now. He's fantastic. And he just kind of gets what I want. I can send him a clip and he sends it back within 20 minutes, like sort of pre-score. I'm like, perfect. Which makes me really giddy and excited. And the look of the film, yeah, Ross Clarkson was the DP, and he shot a heap of Hong Kong sort of action movies in Taiwan with some action stars, Jason Statham and all that kind of stuff. And when we spoke about sort of like a neon, gritty '90s dark, thriller. And I think it's accomplished that. So.
Mm. No, it looks great, sounds great. So yeah, well done on that. And I must commend you on this. Is it a 1970s some sort of special car which is the focus of the film? How did you get it? Because it's a left-hand drive, of course.
Yeah, yeah. We're lucky here in Queensland that we've shot, there's a lot of movies shot up here, the American San Andreas and King Kong, all these sort of movies that come to Australia to use as like a backlot. So I leaned on my connections in the crew industry of like, hey, what did you use for San Andreas and who did you use for this to make it look American? In the script, there was a different muscle car. I think Tom was very quite specific, but I read scripts that are kind of like guidelines. I just go, yeah, we'll get something like that because the crew are very then the crew go, do I have to go and find this particular car? And I'm like, no, just find something of the same feel. So they came in and they sort of gave me and Barry a look at different cars who were available. Some of them were like, this owner doesn't want the car scratched, this owner doesn't like people sitting in the passenger seat. I'm like, okay, well, let's get them out and let's focus on people that are okay with using a car for 3 weeks. Go go go. So yeah, we came up with this one, and I think it works really well.
It does, and as I said, the whole thing is really well shot, and there is some overlay of special effects in the film as well, of course, which you'd need to use because there are some scenes that are pretty violent.
Yeah, yeah. Look, there's some visual effects in there. Obviously Rainfall, my previous film had like 1,500 visual effects of aliens and everything else. This one, I'm hoping people don't notice them because I want them to become invisible. You don't really want people to know where you've used the visual effects in something like this, but we've had to use it on like, changing signage from Australian to American, swapping signs around and all that kind of stuff in the cars, putting cars out of shots, deleting them, and all this kind of really technical stuff, which was interesting to do. And there's some blood and there's some other stuff. So yeah.
Okay, well done on that, and yes, I must admit I mean, I would notice something like that, but I think the general audience wouldn't necessarily notice that, and it does integrate very well.
Great. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So the release of the film will be on November 2nd. I gather it's also going to have overseas releases.
Yeah, just today in Variety, it got announced that America's picked it up for cinema release over there in January 19th, which is great. So it's good to be hitting above our weight, making a movie over here, kind of, and then getting it sold to America in a big way, which is good.
Oh, terrific. That is great news to hear. And are you also planning another film at the moment, Luke?
I am actually, yeah. It's going to be announced on next week. I'm in post production, so I shot it a couple of months ago. It
Ah,
hasn't been announced yet, so I've just been plugging it away. It goes back to my roots of a creature feature, so something different again,
ah.
where it's like two people. It's written by the same writer as Bringing to Me. The movie I was trying to get up with him first, and then had to go. This one is now we got back and did that one. It's called Scurry, and it's about two people stuck in a tunnel system under a city that's under attack by something, and they figure out that there's a creature in the tunnel with them. And what the interesting part is of that movie is I shot it all as a one take. So we're in there with them with a one take for 90 minutes, real time, camera doesn't cut.
Wow, Russian ark type of situation.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's not easy to pull off because as soon as something happens, say at the 25-minute mark, you've got to go back and start again.
yes, yes. It was very difficult to shoot. So I'm in post on that, and again, lots of CGI, lots of visual effects. So we're in that at the moment. But yeah, that'll be announced in the trades soon.
Oh, excellent. I'll certainly look out for that. So you obviously have preferences for the type of films that you want to make.
Look, I'm open as long as it's something that appeals to me. Like when I read this script, there's certain parts of the script I read, and I sort of remembering I pushed my chair back off the desk, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this movie. I don't know if I could. This is some horrible stuff going on in this, in the third act. But I think that's kind of interesting and gritty, and that's why I wanted to take it on because in Hollywood they're very quick to label you, labels, and I was very quick becoming like, oh, he's the alien guy. He does alien movies, So I wanted to do something that was like different. Even as much as I love sci-fi, and I'll definitely go back and do more sci-fi. So I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just looking for interesting projects and things that either appeal to me, on a scale or character. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. And with the title, Bring Him to Me, I mean, that certainly is a key part of the plot. But as soon as I saw Bring, I thought, bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia or something like that, another Bring sort of movie. But of course, your film is quite different to that. But settling on the title is always quite a task.
Yeah, look, it's the original title in the script, and it's funny how things work out in the industry. It's usually the first instance is I'm like, I hate the title, and the sales agents, as people are like, I hate the title, and I'm like, okay, you guys think of something better. We'll all think of something better, and we're going to come back to it. And by the time it gets released on the poster, we go, poster's going to come out next week. What's the title going to be? And I goes, oh, you know what? Just use the original one. It's fine. So it's funny how it kind of all comes back around full circle.
It does. It does. Look, well done on that. And a question I love asking filmmakers all the time is, apart from your own films, have you seen anything else of late that has impressed you?
I saw The Creator recently in cinemas, and I'm a huge fan of Gareth Edwards. So I was really impressed with what he did on that movie, and also the stories behind it of like the cameras he shot on and how I say how low budget it was, even though it was $80 million. I would love $80 million, but compared to some of the other $300 million films that have been out recently that haven't done well, I was really impressed with what he was able to do.
Okay, yes, there's a recommendation, and also recommend Bring Him to Me, which is in Australian cinemas November 2nd. And we've been speaking to Luke Sparke, the director of the film, and I'm looking forward to your next film as well. So it sounds really great as well. So, Luke, thanks so much for talking with me.
That's all right. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Okay, all the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.